How do you combine async await and then? Catch. Imagine you have a task that takes some time to finish, like fetching data from a server. You want your code to be easy to read and handle errors smoothly. That's where asynchronous JavaScript comes in. Now, you might wonder how to mix two popular ways of handling these tasks, async await and promise methods like then, and, well, let's explore how they work together. Async functions are special because they always return promises. Inside an async function, you can use the await keyword to pause execution until a promise settles. This makes asynchronous code look like simple, synchronous code. On the other hand, then, and catch, are promise methods that handle success and failure when promises resolve or reject. They're often used for chaining multiple asynchronous operations. You can combine these approaches in a few ways. For example, you can call an async function and then attach then, and, to its returned promise. This is useful when you want to handle the result or errors outside the async function. For instance, if you have an async function that fetches data from a URL, you can call it and then use then to process the data and catch to handle errors. It looks like this. Async function fetch data. Const response is equal to await fetch_example.com/data. Return response JSON. Fetch data. Then data is equal to console log data. Catch error is equal to console error. Here, fetch data uses await inside, but the caller manages the promise with then, and. This way, you keep your async function clean and handle errors where you call it. Inside an async function, you can also use catch directly on a promise before awaiting it. This is handy if you want to handle specific errors immediately inside the function. For example, async function process. Const result is equal to await some async function. Catch error is equal to console error handled inside async function. Error. If an error occurs, result will be undefined. This approach lets you catch errors right where they happen, instead of using a try-catch block. But remember, mixing await with then, inside the same expression like await promise then, can make your code harder to read. It's better to stick to one style for clarity. In web development, you often use async await inside functions to write clear, straightforward code. When calling these functions from outside, using then, and can be convenient, especially in event handlers or when working with code that expects promises. For example, if you want to handle a button click that fetches data, you might call an async function and then chain then, and catch, to process the result or handle errors. To sum up, you combine async await and, because async functions return promises. You can await promises inside async functions and handle their results with try-catch blocks or chain then, and, when calling these functions from outside. The key is to keep your error handling consistent. Use try-catch inside async functions for clarity and use outside when needed. This approach makes your code flexible, readable, and robust for handling asynchronous tasks in JavaScript.